against Kingpin in the Civil War comics. Iron Man had talked Peter into revealing his secret identity on live television. And then the Kingpin from jail had ordered a hit on Spider-Man, or on Peter Parker. And the bullet that was meant for him ended up hitting Aunt May.
Ooh.
Putting her in the hospital. And so Peter, wearing a black suit, not the symbiote, it's just a black suit he had, because I think Felicia, or the Black Cat, made it for him, since she liked that suit of his a lot. But he put on that suit, breaks and goes into the prison, and then proceeds to take off like the top of the suit and his mask. He doesn't need it anymore. People, they already know who he is. Says Spider-Man's not gonna kill you, but Peter Parker will. And then proceeds to beat the Kingpin to a bloody pulp. Doesn't kill him, puts his wrist to the Kingpin's mouth and says it would take 5 seconds to flood your lungs with web fluid, and you would die without them doing surgery, but you would suffocate before they even got the chance.
Ooh.
And then basically drops the Kingpin back to the floor and says, if my Aunt May dies, I'll be back to finish the job. And he did this in front of all the prisoners in prison. Kingpin didn't realize, fuck around and find out. Another moment, that one was one of my favorites with the Kingpin. Because it's actually Peter there, not like anyone else. Another one was, it was a quick moment, but Peter had gone to the Avengers Tower for a meeting, sees on the news that villains have escaped, and he knows that Venom was one of the prisoners there, and knows that his wife, Mary Jane, and his daughter are going to be in trouble because Eddie knows who Peter is. And immediately rushes out of the tower against everyone there's wishes. Before anything can be said, he's just gone. He rushes back home, finds Venom with tentacles wrapped around MJ and his daughter, and without even a second thought, rushes at Venom and punches him right in the mouth. And then it says in the text boxes that he could feel the bones shattering against his fists, but he didn't care. It was for a split second that he didn't hold back, but that split second was enough for MJ and the baby to get away. And MJ, not being fucking stupid, thankfully runs to the nearest fire truck because the sound would repel Venom. And then, of course, the other moment being with the Red Goblin trying to get to some kids that are his kids that he had with Gwen Stacy during an affair. That's a whole mess to get into, though, because she's the same age as Peter, which was about 20 in that comic, and he's a grown man. So, yeah. But either way, she ends up pregnant and gives the birth to the kids. She believes she had a miscarriage of a stillborn, but in reality, Norman took them. to do experiments. Since they are his kids, they automatically have the same blood as him. Therefore, they could become Goblin. Norman's fucked up, way more fucked up than the comics. But eventually the kids get taken away from him and all that by I forget who, but eventually Norman, or Green Goblin, gets a hold of the Carnage symbiote, becoming Red Goblin. Probably one of the most dangerous people Peter has ever had to face, because he causes the deaths of Flash Thompson or Agent Venom. Who is a hero. And several other people, just to try to get a hold of these kids to corrupt them with pieces of the Carnage symbiote. And he is beating Spider-Man pretty fucking badly in that comic, because he's just so much stronger. Not only with the fact that the Green Goblin serum is just it's a more tainted version of a super soldier serum. It's a less stable version that just gave Norman Osborn split personality disorder, or caused his psyche to kind of fracture, creating the Goblin persona. At least that's how they showed in the Sam Raimi movies. So he's already strong from that, then you add on the symbiote, which boosts said strength. So it's pretty dangerous threat Peter had to face, so he stopped in that moment. Because if he didn't, not only was he gonna die, but so were those kids. But to get on a different, non-dark version of Spider-Man, there is a moment where Iron Man is eating pizza or eating at a diner with Spider-Man and the Hulk. And Tony, being curious about Peter's ability to stick to things, or to virtually anything, without coming off, because he won't come off that surface. The surface comes off with him. So if he's sticking his fingers onto the wall and someone is pulling him, there's nothing you can do to get him off that wall. The wall will break off before he comes off. So, wanting to see how the limits of his stick, he has him stick to the Hulk. And Peter does not get pummeled by the Hulk because, as the Hulk put it, Spider is friend. And therefore, Iron Man has to give up $20 because that was the bet.
Ouch.
If he could stick to the Hulk, he would give him $20. But that stick doesn't just apply to his fingers; it applies to everywhere on his body. So no one could actually unmask him, because he can just make the mask stick to his face. Which brings me to another dark moment of Spider-Man, because I just fucking remembered it. He could take the 5 fingers, tips of his fingers, stick it to somebody's face, and rip their face off.
Ooh.
And that is done by the clone Kane, and called the Mark of Kane. Because that's version of Spider-Man being a clone that Otto Octavius made. Isn't perfect, as most clones aren't. But's perfect enough to be considered a person. I wouldn't say he only did it to bad people, but it was still very brutal. And it's not like he's ripping the whole face off. That he would have to put his whole palm on their face for. He takes just the tips, and he puts there's a mark in their face for every finger. Or every fingertip. Yeah, comics are fucking dark. And if they do decide to do the Red Goblin route in Spider-Man 3, they better not disappoint, and they better make that shit rated R. Even if it's just Carnage, regular Carnage in that game, they have to have it rated R, because that's just Cletus Cassidy, a fucking serial killer. Who literally pushed his own grandma down the stairs and beat his own dog with a fucking hammer.
Oh.
For giggles.
Well, he's a psychopath.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, he didn't beat the dog with the hammer. His grandma did, because he didn't do his chores, so he pushed her down the stairs.
That's messed up.
Being a psychopath combined with a shitty living situation, it's no wonder he turned out the way he did. But him getting the symbiote only made it worse. Carnage, being the direct spawn of Venom, is automatically stronger than him, and has a much tighter bond with with Cletus Cassidy, due to most symbiotes only bond at the subcellular level, which is like the skin. Carnage is bonded with Cassidy's red blood cells, because he went in through a cut in Cassidy's hand. So he is bonded with him at a much deeper level, giving them a much deeper connection than the typical symbiote, to where Carnage can sense Cassidy from across the world, pretty much. And vice versa. And unlike Venom, Carnage can form weapons from his hand. He can also throw these weapons as a projectile. He's also just naturally stronger than Venom, due to being, and that's how symbiote spawns work. They're always stronger than the one they came from. And also carry on the traits of that one that went before. So it has those white eyes, and they can do web slinging like Spider-Man, because that's what Venom could do. it also doesn't trigger Spider-Man's spider sense, because that neither does Venom.
Nick, it doesn't see him as a threat.
Because the symbiote was at one point bonded with Peter. So every symbiote after Venom that comes from his line can therefore bypass the spider sense. I'm a fucking nerd. I just noticed that there's this big ass stone wall around the building. Clean. God damn it. I've been focused on the walls around the back of the building. Son of a bitch. Laugh it up, laugh it up.
If it makes you feel better, I'm doing the roof. And it's weird angles.
That makes me feel slightly better. But Spider-Man 2 also did a thing that I wasn't expecting, which was bringing in Scream, which is one of the 5 symbiotes that the Life Foundation forcibly had Venom spawn in the comics. The others being Riot, Phage, Lasher, and Scream. I think that's it. Oh wait, and Agony. And guess who ended up with the Scream symbiote for like a boss fight?
Peter?
No. MJ.
Really?
And Peter has to fight MJ while being taunted. Because that's the only way to really get it off, is to fight. And Miles isn't around with his bioelectricity to force it off that way. But he comes home to find Harry in it due to Aunt May passing away in the first game. And by this point, Harry had already had, and when he calls Venom a thing rather than a living thing, and more of knowing it's living but not giving it the respect of a name, Harry gets pissed, uses the symbiote, breaks the fucking table in front of them. And then uses the symbiote again after forming it around and getting the Venom line. Gave shot more tendrils towards Peter. MJ jumps in the way like a fucking idiot. gets hit also. They both go flying and hit a fucking fridge. Fridge falls on Peter, and then MJ gets dragged away and given the Scream symbiote. And then Scream immediately puts Peter through the fucking wall and into a bus that was driving her outside. And then the boss fight begins. With him getting taunted of saying, like, of the symbiotes read their host's mind. The symbiote was using what it could learn against Peter. I've been watching Jacksepticeye play this game for the last several days. I watch a part of it every night. Or while I'm eating dinner. I'm on the last part of the main story now. Then he did his ninth one, which is just him doing the 100%. Yeah, Kraven kills a lot of fucking people in that game. He kills Shocker, Rhino, Scorpion. He actually gets stung by Scorpion's venom and then walks it off like it's like he just got hit, just took a hit of acid. Which the stuff that Scorpion has makes people hallucinate like some wild shit.
So kind of like the Joker's gas.
Huh?
So kind of like the Joker's gas.
Joker's gas makes them die of laughter. This makes them see, I wouldn't say their worst fears like Scarecrow's gas, but more of, it makes them see shit while they're dying. Because it is still a poison. It is a hallucinogenic poison, to put it simply. And Kraven doesn't even get affected by it. Just pulls the stinger out of his shoulder while still holding Scorpion by the throat with one arm. Breaks off the tip of the stinger, drops Scorpion to the ground, and then injects Scorpion with his own venom. And that's how he killed him. But he literally has Rhino's head on a wall as a mounted up on his wall. And all this other shit. And it's just dude's menace. Was even trying to go after Black Cat before Miles helped her escape to Paris. How he was gonna kill Tombstone, though, is beyond me. Tombstone's skin is literally invulnerable and he can't feel any punches. So I have no idea how Craven thought he was still back. Like, Spider-Man himself, as Peter himself has said, punching Tombstone is like hitting cement.